We're the moms who ask the questions, digging deep, no second guessing. From the school run to the crime scene, truth and chaos, we're the dream team. Bad Kids Club, yeah, we ride or die. Sad eyes sharp and our standards high. Brought together by FKR, now we're taking truth real far. And we're just getting started. Talk time with Amy, Boston, and Kelly, spilling facts that hit your belly. Partners in crime, fueled by conviction. Moms on a mission with sharp intuition. Talk time, we're calling out lies with caffeine, chaos, and side-eye vibes. It's raw, it's real, it's how we vent. Leaning close, let the reckoning commence. This is Talk Time with Amy, Boston, and Kelly, where the tea is hot and the truth cuts.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Courtroom Insider. I'm Nate Eaton. Today is July 1st, 2025. Can you believe it's July? The year is halfway over. I cannot believe it. I'm Nate Eaton. So glad you're here with me. Would love to know where you're watching from and if you have any questions. And boy, have you had questions over the past 24 hours. I think we've gotten around 700. This is just some of them. I printed off some of them. Peggy, our moderator, went through them all. Questions and comments and concerns, and even people who think that I need to go get a health exam because I have things on the back of my neck or my head, and maybe I should go see the doctor. Anyway, so glad you're here, and I appreciate all the feedback we've had since our Lori Vallow Daybell interview aired yesterday. I want to tell you that this is the last full program we will spend talking about the interview. After this, I'll probably bring it up from time to time, but we're not going to devote any more time to my conversation with Lori. But we will talk about it tonight, and I will get in more of your questions and more of your comments if I can. I want to start by playing a clip last night that we had an audio issue with. It was about a, 90-second clip where I asked Lori about her illness in court. You remember that she showed up in a wheelchair. She put her head down on the table when she said that she was too sick to proceed. Her private investigator did tell me that he really was sick during this time, and he likely could have passed it to her. Anyway, that clip, inadvertently, the audio was removed from our interview yesterday. When I posted the interview later on our YouTube channel, we did get the whole thing up. But for those of you who didn't get to watch it, here is that exchange that I promised to bring you tonight in full. You mentioned a virus. Were you really sick?
Oh, I was so sick. Yeah, I really was sick.
You weren't putting it on a little bit in the wheelchair?
Not at all. I couldn't
putting your head on the table in the courtroom? You were really feeling sick?
I tried so hard not to throw up in court. And Jeff can attest. So Jeff had the same virus I had. We had been working till like 8 o'clock at night getting ready for trial. The next day when I went Thursday, he calls in sick. He's sick in bed, can't lift his head, he's throwing up. Okay. Friday at trial, we were picking a jury. I threw up at lunch and told the judge, I was like, oh no, I must have the same thing Jeff had. Jeff missed my whole trial because he was sick for 10 days in bed. Was so sick. I've been incarcerated for 5.5 years. I've only ever been sick one other time, and that was like a really severe headache that I thought may have been COVID or something for like 10 days. I've never been this sick. And you don't have any access to anything. Like, you don't have access to medicine or food or anything that you need. I was so sick. I had an infection. I had to get on antibiotics. And the medical here is ridiculously horrible. They did a test on me. We're supposed to give me antibiotics. They gave it to me for a week. And it started until a week later than I should have started on it.
Now, if you missed the rest of the interview and you want context for the rest of it, you can go check out the whole thing, of course, on our YouTube channel. Now, the agreement that Lori had asked me that we would present the interview unedited, and I agreed to that. In fact, I have become more and more of the opinion that I like the unedited interviews, longer form. I think on the internet, it allows us to do that, go more long form versus chopping things up into pieces. There's a time and a place for that as well. But with this interview, I said, yeah, I'd be happy to bring it unedited. However, I did want to fact check after. And I know I didn't get all the fact checks in yesterday. But I tried to get many of them, and many of you have sent me follow-up ones, and you're very astute because you caught things that I didn't quite catch as well. But about 10, 15 minutes into the interview, Lori's paralegal arrived and wanted to come in the room for the interview. So we kind of paused it, but our cameras kept rolling, and we cut it out of the main interview because it wasn't part of the interview. But the more I got thinking about it, and last night watching the interview, I thought it would be interesting to show you Lori's demeanor, her behavior, when we went from a pretty passionate discussion to having to pause to then we jumped right back in it. I've done these type of interviews where you pause with someone, and if you're in a really passionate, heated moment, a lot of times both sides won't talk to you. Like I won't talk to the person, they won't talk to me. They'll get up and get a drink of water. They'll do something. I didn't want to continue on asking her anything because if she said something good, I wanted to be able to use it. So I just kind of sat there and we kind of had small talk, as you'll see here. But pay attention to her demeanor here in this piece that we haven't played before.
Kept on with it. The state went along with it. The state leaked stuff to the media to say what they wanted.
What's false about
oh my gosh, everything.
Hold on, do we need to pause for a minute? Do you want your paralegal here? In here?
Yes,
She's
yes.
at the door. Okay, we'll pause for a
here?
moment. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
You can lick me right.
Sorry.
You're good.
That was nice.
Yes. Oh, did she leave? It's Anna, right?
Yeah, Anna.
Anna. Okay.
And I just restarted.
Okay, cool.
Anna Lena.
This is Jordan and Erica, by the way.
Hi. Hi, Jordan.
So do they give you?
Was he with you in Hawaii? Somebody
He
was
wasn't.
with you.
It was Eric, who was an intern.
Oh, you have fun while you were there?
I didn't
the
step
island?
one foot on the beach.
Why? How could you? It's right there.
We were chasing you.
I know, but you're right there. I went on the beach. You chased me out to the beach.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, no worries.
Hi,
I'm just gonna go sit and work out there. Where do you want to go?
If you want to go back there, or you could go back here too.
Okay.
I think right there you might be in the shot.
Yes.
the other side of the room.
Kind of come over where I am. That'd be great.
Okay. Do you need a chair?
I'm good. I guess so.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So I
Anna.
don't.
Back to that. Sorry.
Back to that. And then with that, we jumped right into our conversation, which you can watch the rest of that. It's fascinating to me that I said, I didn't get to go on the beach. And she said, well, you chased me on the beach. Yeah, it just interesting to see how she reacts and see her responses to things this many years later. And I want to bring in now, earlier, a little while ago, I brought in Jordan here into our studio. Jordan's our photographer, our videographer. He's been with me in Arizona the past few months as we've covered these trials. He's covered a lot of the trials at home and a lot of the hearings here at home. And he was the one that technically set up the interview, made it happen with the lights and the mics and all that. And I just wanted him to share his feedback. Oftentimes the photographers and editors behind the cameras don't get named, and Jordan is as equal a part of this as I am. And so here is what Jordan said just a few minutes ago about his experience with this interview. All righty, everybody. Here is Jordan behind the camera. Is that what we say?
Yeah.
Jordan behind the camera.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Jordan, overall for the interview?
I thought it went good, and it was really interesting. I think it went good. I'm really happy at how it turned out. It was a really interesting challenge to figure out how am I going to set this up in a very strict 30-minute window. And as soon as Nate told me that this was a possibility, or as soon as you told me this was a possibility, I was like, okay, how am I going to do it? And I kind of could only think about that. And so I went into the studio and started timing myself, setting up different lighting setups to see which one would work the best. But then we found one that worked, that was fast and looked good. And yeah, so it was a really interesting challenge, like on that side of things. And like, I was very much focused on like cameras and lights and That's all I could think about.
Right. When Dateline interviewed Lori, they were able to go in the night before, and they had several hours to set up. They told us we had 30 minutes. I told Jordan I want 20. I want to get it done in 20 so that we can be ready to go. So Jordan did an amazing job. What were your thoughts, when she walked in the room and at one point she said your name and looked at you? I mean, what was the general vibe you got from her?
For me, I had heard kind of like different things, like people saying they felt like something evil about her. But I think I was surprised. I mean, not really. I was surprised since I'd never really seen her in person before, but just how like chipper she was. She was just in like a good mood, and you were like, "How are you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm good." Like, it's not what I would expect from somebody in jail to say. And she was just so friendly. And even like the interview, she did get a little heated at points, but for the most part, she was very like calm and casual, and it just felt like a conversation between like two friends almost, which is just like a really interesting experience from somebody who is facing multiple life sentences.
Correction, though, I'm not her friend.
Yeah.
Okay. But in a way, though, that is what it felt like. It felt like I was sitting down just talking with not somebody that is angry at you. After the interview, we went and toured a little bit of the jail. And what was your thought about that and the living conditions and how it is inside that jail?
Yeah.
I mean, we had been in a jail before. Jordan and I shot a story a few months ago. We went into the Bonneville County Jail, and some similarities.
Yeah, it was very similar to the Bonneville County Jail, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like they have more people. And I just can't imagine being in a pretty small room, smaller than the room we're in right now, for like 23 hours a day, and then having 1 hour to go around, talk to other people. It was a really like kind of a sobering moment of just being like, this is awful. Like the people who are there tend to deserve it, or who need to be there. But it was just a really interesting thing just to see that and kind of see how they live. And yeah, it's just a tiny cell, and that would be a really hard thing. Like, I don't know, my perception of jail was always like what I saw on TV, and that never really did it justice. But like being there in person, it really put it in perspective.
You don't want to go back. No one wants to go back. You have family members and friends that have followed this story closely. What was their reaction when you said, "Hey, by the way, we just interviewed Lori Vallow"?
Yeah, I kept it pretty hush hush, and they were pretty shocked. My sister texted me, as soon as you posted the picture on, was it Saturday? She was like, "Did you ask her anything?" And like, what would you ask her? And she was just shocked. And my mom, who had been following this pretty closely, was also very shocked. And just, what was she like? And I was like, yeah, she was really friendly. And just that same kind of like, yeah, it was weird how friendly she was.
Yeah. Well, somebody said, I just thought Nate and Jordan went to Arizona to get donuts.
Yeah.
Well, we did have donuts, but we had a little bit more of an assignment. Cool. Anything you want to add?
Just thank you for watching, for everyone who's been following and really like got us here. And I think it's just a really cool full circle moment when, especially for you, when you were able to go in there and interview her. And like, one of my favorite parts of the interview is when you say, like, we met in Hawaii, and she's like, we didn't meet, you stuck a microphone in my face. But it's such a cool, like, full circle moment of being there from the beginning to the end. And I came in a little later, but being able to like see all of this. And we have the sentencing next month, and then there's a lot of appeal processes after, but it's kind of the bookend.
I think kind of the sentencing is it, though, unless there's some major overturning. And she asked if you were the guy in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't. It was Eric, but Jordan easily could have come and done the shoot. Okay. Thank you. Jordan is one of those people that in a very stressful situation, my blood pressure is going up, and I'm like, come on, let's get this going. What are we doing? And he is just like, well, let me figure this out. When inside he's falling apart, he doesn't ever show it. I've never seen him like raise his voice, yell. He's very chill, and he can pretty much fix everything. So kudos to Jordan for that. Now, the other person who came with me to Arizona for this interview was Erica, my wife. Erica, of course, has been with me throughout the past years on a lot of these things, watching as an observer, listening to me as I fill her in on the things, hearing me take the phone calls, hearing me, go into the closet late at night while I talk to a source. And when I told Erica that the interview was confirmed, she said, well, what if I came with you? And I'm like, yes, you need to come with me. Absolutely. We'll have you be our producer. And basically a producer is the one that helps with the interview. So she helped run a camera, and she was there, to help me bounce questions off her, things like that. And to really just be in the room and with Lori to see what it was like, what that exchange was like. So Erica was just here a minute ago as well. We sat down here, and here was her take on the interview. So what'd you think?
So many thoughts. Where do you want to start? What do I think?
Why did you decide to come to the interview?
Okay, well, this kind of ties in with something I've been thinking. There has been a lot of back and forth about whether Nate should have done the interview, not done the interview. But this has been a long chapter in our lives. With a lot of news stories, you kind of check in and you check out. And I feel like this has been a very unique situation in which you've gotten to know all of the victims' families. I feel like it has taken a lot of our life being involved in it. And so I kind of just felt like it was a good bookend to close a chapter in our lives. And I just also enjoy seeing you at work.
She said after we were done, after the interview, can we be done with Lori now? I think once sentencing comes in a few weeks, then we can be done. Okay, so what did you think when she walked in the room?
Everyone has asked me this question, did you just feel this presence of evil come over you? Is there something that you just felt? And honestly, I felt nothing. When we went through Chad's house before it was torn down, I felt physically ill when we were going through at some points. It just felt icky to me inside. When she came, I think, and I think a lot of you probably feel this way too, that she's going to get her sentence, but no matter what, she already is spending life in jail. Just be done with her. She has no power over anyone anymore, which I think is a really good thing. And I think it's just time for her to, she'll never be able to pay for what she did, really, but for her to just have her whole rest of her life to think about what she's done and process that. And I don't know if she'll ever come to the realization of what she's really done, but.
There were some people that emailed me saying, did you want to smack her?
Maybe once or twice I wanted to karate chop her just in the jugular, only because as a mother, and I've talked about this before with Colby's call with his mom in jail, that to feel and she says this in her interview, do you have any remorse about what you've done? Do you have any regrets? To not even feel a human emotion for your children are dead, or you've left me an orphan, the way that she doesn't respond to anything. I think even if on a base level as a human being, you feel sad for someone when they are going through something hard, whether you think it's hard or not, you at least have that emotion. And so to see my kids, when they get hurt, I'm hurt, right? When they're feeling something terrible, I feel something terrible. To see that that's not even a thing. She's I lost my kids. And there's no reality there of the gravity of what she's done just astounds me.
Yeah. A lot of people have asked, have you ever seen her cry or show any sort of emotion? I saw it once in early days of COVID when she was in court. The courtroom was closed to the public and it was on Zoom, and she was in court masked up next to Mark Means, her attorney, and Colby appeared on the screen in front of her. And she reached for tissues and appeared to be dabbing her eyes. And I assume she was crying. I don't know because I wasn't there. But and then in court, maybe there were 1 or 2 days, but no, as far as any sort of regret, remorse, anything like that, nothing.
A big thing that all of you said, which I think is weird, I'm not going to lie to any of you, you asked if Lori was flirty during this interview.
I got a lot of emails. Like, Nate, she was flirting with you.
Which I would just like to comment. I
think
didn't feel like she was flirty. I think, so I was at the camera behind Lori's head. I was focused on Nate. And so
she always is.
That's right. And so I felt like she would turn around. So the people off camera that I think you showed last night, right? The other people that were watching in the room, she would look back and smile.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like people do when you want their agreements. You look at them, you smile, like, yeah, don't you agree with me? And so obviously my face was very non-responsive to any of that because I do not agree with her on almost anything she said. But yeah, I didn't think she was flirty. I think she's just one of those people that she's charismatic. I don't care what you guys say out there. I think if you didn't know all the things that had happened in the past 6-7 years, whatever, she seems very bubbly, very personable. And now obviously in context, that feels really icky.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she is. And as far as flirty, I think she would be that way with most people, not just me, maybe more with men than women. She obviously interviewed me differently. I think that she was a little nervous, honestly, when she walked in. In the beginning, there's kind of a little nervous when I said happy birthday. She's like, oh, thank you. How old do you think I am? And then I asked the question about Chad, and she jumped right back to the birthday comment. I think she seemed a little bit nervous until she kind of hit her groove with the whole, when I said, do you think Chad will be exonerated before he's executed? And she went, yes, Nate. And that's when I think she kind of more was like, okay, I'm ready to spar.
I will say too, obviously Nate and I have talked about it. Lots of you have talked about it in the comments, the newsworthiness of interviewing her and if he should, if he shouldn't. I think as a personal note for us, I feel like it's something that Nate has spent so many years covering that for him personally, I feel like you needed this for some kind of closure wrap up,
circle,
whatever it is. But I honestly think, and I don't know if you want to go into this or not, there is a religious aspect to this with her. And I honestly thought that she'd be a little more loose-lipped, open to talk because she felt like Nate had some kind of basic understanding of her religion, which is not our shared religion. But I think coming from a base of a Latter-day Saint knowledge, she doesn't have to explain that to the interviewer. And so I did wonder if she'd be a little more candid and open with you because in some weird, creepy way, you would understand.
I think so. And she's talked religion to me in the past through text messages, through our emails. I mean, I've shown Erica every message, Lori, that I'll be like, look what she sent me now. And she brought that up very early on. I'm LDS, you're LDS. 80% of what Lori has said, I don't know any idea about, or I haven't heard it taught at church. It's been definitely a twisted thing. And so I think that may have been her, where she sat down with other interviewers who don't have any background of it. In her mind, she might think, oh, I'd have to explain this to them. And I also think she had questions for me about, like, who did tip you off? She seemed to be hinting at this, like, you got a tip from so-and-so and so, which wasn't accurate at all, what she said. She probably wanted to know, how did you know I was in Hawaii? And how did you get this information? And she knows that I've talked to all of her friends, most of her friends and the investigators. So that may have been another reason why she, wanted to do it.
There was one other issue. I did want a karate chopper, or like my friend will do this where you just flick somebody's head and flick them away, was when she said, like, I made you famous. No. Did that bother you? Because here's my thing. No one gets famous off of disgusting things that you do. Nate has worked really hard, bless your heart, in the past 6 years covering it, things like that. And so I just thought that was really gross to try to like take a weird credit for this whole odd thing that has happened.
I don't know whatever. I mean, fame, quote unquote, is always fleeting. There's always the next story. There's always the next thing that will come along. In 3 months, this will all be gone and there'll be something new. So,
and I love you. I don't think you're famous.
I don't.
You're
Also, I'm also,
recognized
I am recognized, and Erica will tell you more than anybody. I don't really like it. I love it when
he doesn't seem like an introvert, but he is.
Yeah. So when we go places, like in Arizona, I told her no one knows who I am. It's great when I go to the grocery store. Not that if you see me in public, please say hi, but I just kind of like to, not be known.
I think he likes it when I come around because he enjoys my company, but also because I am the extroverted shield for him and fielding everything. Very
true. When we go to social events, Erica's willing to chat with people, and I just want to sit there, mainly because I talk to people all day long. But anyway, back to the interview. Any key takeaways from her?
I think going in, we knew that she would. I mean, I didn't think she was going to be like, "Yep, killed my kids," right? Like, I don't think anyone thought that that's what was going to come out of the interview. I too kind of wondered, like, I had seen her in the courtroom when I had come to court, things like that. So it's not like I hadn't seen her in person or whatever, but I had wondered going for my own curiosity, like what it would be like to kind of see her explain it and interact and see things. My key takeaway is Jesus doesn't tell you guys to do this kind of stuff. Don't do this. This is not a good thing. And it has, I don't know. It's very curious to me. I think we've seen a lot of people in the news lately that say that they're doing this because of X reason, Y reason. I left feeling like I just wanted her to admit something, and I know you can only push so much in an interview because you've got to keep moving on, especially when you have such a short amount of time to try to get through so much. I would have just liked to see her respond to like an actual question, especially about the kids, and not trying to say that things didn't happen or change the facts. I would have liked her to like face reality a little bit more. And I was disappointed by that.
Well, the question too is you can hit her with those big questions of what'd you do to the kids? Why didn't you? And I think she might be expecting that. What another smaller question I wish I would have asked is why didn't you call the cops when the Jeep was towed by the police? Like, why didn't you report your Jeep stolen? Minor questions that really maybe in the grand scheme of things don't matter, but see how she answers those type of things. Can she think on the spot and come up with an answer? Like when I said, who was paying for the rental house in Hawaii? Well, Chad was. I mean, I don't think she was expecting that question. I hadn't planned that question. It just came out. But the one about the tire, moving the tire in the seat in and out of the storage unit. She obviously, had thought, well, I had to move that stuff in and out. So 2 hours, she wanted 2 hours. 2 hours would have been a long time. Yeah, that would have been, I think 40 minutes was good. I think we got a feel for who she is, if she was willing to engage or not. And there gets to a point, I know a lot of you were like, you should have really dove in on this issue or that issue. You can see that how she addressed a certain issue, you have to kind of bring her back and, address other things.
And it's hard too, because obviously as a reporter, you keep it factual, right? You have to base it what's on the facts. But I feel like to be able to talk with her, you almost have to meet her in her delusion of what has happened in this crazy story that she said, well, what if this is really what occurred? What if whatever? And you just don't have that kind of time to go through that in an interview. But it would be fascinating if you could meet her and for conversation's sake, agree with her about what she says happened to Tylee and JJ and all of that, and see where that leads. And I'm sure it probably is nothing, it's just going to be a bunch of nonsense. But I would like to know if you kept pressing her, if something would finally
come out, and would you know if it's true or not?
Right.
I mean, I imagine what we dealt with for 40 minutes was what her attorneys in Idaho and Arizona dealt with daily during the trial for months.
Bless them.
After court, her saying stuff like this. So how'd you feel after? I told everybody we went out to have a nice meal after, and it really wasn't that good after the interview.
The lunch was not great. And then obviously the flight delays were also
right.
Not
you were tired. Like I felt exhausted. Whew. I
didn't feel exhausted because I wasn't under the pressure of anything. All I had to do was make sure that the camera kept recording. It was fascinating to go through the jail and see everything. And there's one truthful thing that Lori said, and I think this is personal opinion. Remember, I'm not a reporter. That there needs to be some kind of jail reform for sure. Do I think Lori deserves what she's getting? 100%. But to see the conditions of some prisoners will not see the sunlight the whole time they're there. That was one truthful thing that she said in the interview that I could agree with.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
probably
windows are covered, and when you go outside, there's like a
sunshade.
A sunshade because it's so hot there. And different prisons are different, and jails are different. In Pocatello, in the prison, they can go outside, and there's like a rec yard, I guess you could say, that's guarded. And they can play soccer. The day I went, they were laying on the lawn. Some of the prisoners, with a notebook or whatever. So everything is different. Well, thanks for coming with me.
Yeah. I don't want to go to jail anytime soon.
If anything,
takeaway.
They should take every kid who's like a teenager through a jail and just say, hey, if you make mistakes, you'll end up here.
I did ask one of the police officers, I said, when I was in my very sleep deprived early mom years, I thought, what is the least crime I could commit just to get a night in jail, to get a night's sleep? And after this, that has cured me. I no longer desire that. I wish she would have been more forthcoming with answers, and I was hoping that maybe you could get that out of her, because you've been emailing through the years, little bits here and there, that she would have given more. But I think I would be glad to see her stay in jail and just kind of be forgotten about. I hope that we always remember the victims of this crime. I know that it has changed both of our lives. Definitely. And so many of your lives, the victims' lives, their families. But I think this is a nice close of the door for everybody to move on. And I hope everybody can and find their peace and have good lives.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, honey.
Bye.
Aren't I a very lucky guy to be married to Erica? I say that every day, and I'm glad she could come with. She actually flew in an hour before the interview. Flights were just crazy expensive, and the times don't work right out of Idaho Falls. But Delta had a flight that left Idaho Falls like at 6 and got into Phoenix at like 9:40, and or 8:40. Anyway, she made it. But then the flight after, so she flew in. We went to the interview, and then she was going to fly home right after to be home, and that flight kept getting bumped on Alaska to the point that she couldn't get home. So she ended up spending the night. She ended up spending an extra day and going home the next day. And anyway, that was her reaction to the interview with Lori. And after we finished our interview with Lori, the jail staff, who was very professional and kind, took us back into a cell. Now, not Lori's pod, but to a similar one that's currently under renovation. So we were able to go inside. We were able to go inside an actual cell versus the pod. We were able to walk around, and it was fascinating. I've been in jails before. This one was similar, other than the jails I've been in have been in like in Idaho, where you can see out the windows because the heat isn't an issue, and the top isn't covered, as I said there with Erica about Pocatello, but the top, meaning the sun shade. But anyway, here is a look at what the conditions are like with Lori Vallow inside the jail. So there's around 1,000 inmates here at the jail. You can see we're in a pod that's under construction, or not under construction, they're remodeling it. So there's no inmates currently where we're at. I want to give you an example of what life would be like for these inmates. Here's a general area. If the inmates are in general population, they can come and go between their cells and this area whenever they want. Now, Lori is in protected custody, so she's not allowed to do that. She can come out of her cell 1 hour a day. You can see that there's, tables, chairs here, no televisions except the one up there, which has rules running through it. The inmates can own tablets of their own that they can watch entertainment or listen to music, and those can be set up right here. Let's go into one of these cells. This, I'm told, is exactly what Lori's would look like, and most of these have double beds. So imagine sharing this tiny space. I don't know, maybe this is 10 by 8, 10 by 6 with another person. Inmate up here, inmate down there. Lori is in her own cell. Here is where you could set up your tablet and communicate with people. The toilet is just delightful. You can see this is the toilet and this is the sink. Of course, as I mentioned, we're in an area that's currently under renovation. So I imagine that there would be a sink nozzle here, but this is it. You want a mirror, you really can't look at yourself. I don't know, Jordan, if you can come over here and show. You can kind of see what you look like, but it's not a very good picture. So Lori is in a place like this 23 hours a day. During mealtime, if it's not her 1 hour to be out, they'll serve her meal in here. This is where she would prep her legal documents. She would get ready for court. If it happens to be mealtime when she's out, the 1 hour a day that she's out, she could eat it out there. So when she says that she can talk to other inmates, they can communicate with her, technically that is true. They can yell through here. They can communicate through here. This is open, so there's circulation that could, be through here. I guess that you could maybe pass a note in or out. And here is where the shower area would be. So we can walk in here, Jordan. There's 2 showers and very traditional. Looks like, I don't even see the button where they would turn it on. I would imagine that's controlled from the jailer. As I mentioned, because it's under renovation, they probably don't have that. So as part of their time, they could come in here and take a shower. The inmates in Lori's area, in the protective custody, are never all out together. So they're never all out here together. They only get out for 1 hour a day, so they rotate through. Now, when would they actually leave this pod? Not very often. If Lori's attorneys decide to come and meet with her, if she needs to go to the medical unit, other extenuating circumstances, the mental health unit, she could leave here and be escorted down there. Otherwise, she's in that cell. I'm told for her, she's on the upper level. So I don't know if we can go wide here and show that you have the upper level. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down here. So you've got 15 potential cells in here. If you have 2 each, you could house 30 inmates. A lot of the places in here have bunks. So instead you look inside and there's bunks and there's, 80 to 100 women that are in there sleeping on bunks. They're not the actual cell type of housing. So they have a little bit of both here at the facility. Lori will be here through the time that she is sentenced on July 25th. And then within the next few weeks after that, it's anticipated that she will be moved back to the prison in Pocatello, which actually I've been through there and it has a pretty similar feel, pretty similar style. A lot of dorm situations, or they have the private units too for the inmates that might need to be on their own or might have mental issues or things like that. So there's a look inside the jail.
Now, I hope that everybody watching, that I never have to report on any of you going to that jail or
Okay, my friends, how are you all? I am going to put our link for the other chat or the other StreamYard for our new one into the chat. Hold on a second, I can get it. That's not what I wanted. That is what I wanted. Hold on. And I'm going to put it in there so that you guys can come to the other page so that we can stream our court case, which is...
Hey, Mama.
Hey, baby. How are ya?
I don't have my right earbuds in, so I'm going to talk over you. I apologize. We can redirect the stream too. I can do it from here, I believe. I'll see what I can do.
Oh, redirect them onto our other one?
God, I'm acting in my ear. I have an awful voice. Why do any of you guys want to listen to me?
You're not. Shut up.
All right, bye.
Bye. Let me see what I'm doing. All right. What am I doing? I got that one. I'm all discombobulated today, you guys. Discombobulated. It's discombobulation day. Amy's going to try to set you guys up to just go over there. And then I am going, it's Iowa. It is Karina Cooper from Iowa. She took her husband out with her lover. So we are going to that one. It's supposed to start in like 18 minutes, but we're going to go ahead and start it now. So I'm going to start. I put the code in, or the link in, and then I'm going to end the stream. So
I can't do it, kids. So
it's okay.
You're going to have the link. Sorry.
No, you're good. The link is in there. You guys come on over to the other stream. Hey. I am going to start that one over there so we can see you. Hey, love you.
How am I supposed to say that? Talk time with Amy in Boston and Kelly. Time with Amy, Boston and Kelly. Talk 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 time with Amy, Boston and Kelly is a member, y'all. Is a member, y'all, to the Gene Deal Show. Talk time with Amy in Boston and Kelly. Talk time with Amy, Boston and Kelly. Talk time with Amy, Boston and Kelly is a member to the Gene Deal Show. Oh, thank you for your membership. Talk time with Amy and Boston and Kelly on the Gene.